All right. So this all actually started because a buddy of mine was trying to build an affiliate site, and he was just completely stuck. He had a domain and WordPress set up, and he watched a bunch of videos, and he's like, "What do I actually do now? Like, what do I write? How do I pick products, and how do I know if anything is actually working?" And honestly, that's where most people are getting stuck. They write random posts, they throw in some affiliate links, and then nothing really happens. And I've seen that over and over, not because this is complicated, but because there's no clear system for doing it. And at the same time, I'm running my own sites. And even when you know what you're doing, it's still way more manual than it should be. Because I've seen the other side of this. I worked at NerdWallet, which is basically this massive affiliate business. It started as a simple WordPress blog, and even as it scaled, everything still ran through WordPress. I joined back in 2018, and I was there for over 6 years working on the content platform. And when I started, it was basically me and one other engineer on that side. And the scale was pretty wild, like hundreds of writers, something like 20 to 30 million people a month hitting the site. And they went public eventually at around $1.2 billion. So I've seen what this looks like when it's actually working. And the difference wasn't more content, it was structure and data and feedback. And they had entire teams around this. Content, SEO, engineers, marketing, all working together on the same system. Most people trying to build affiliate sites are basically doing all of that, but themselves, which is where things really start to break down. So this is about bringing that structure into a normal WordPress setup so you can actually run it without stitching together a bunch of tools and requiring a massive team. So let's take a look. This is one of my sites. And yeah, you can see it's trending down a bit. It's nothing crazy, but enough that I need to figure out what's actually going on. And the important part is I don't assume I know the answer, because this could be a bunch of different things. Traffic could be down. It could be a seasonal issue. It could be a specific page dropping, or it could just be that the content isn't competitive anymore. And so the first thing I'm doing is looking at the data. I'm seeing what's actually changed, what pages are down, what's still working, and from there I decide what to do next. If I need more coverage, I'll go into content strategy. And that shows me where I'm thin, what I'm not actually really covering well. So I'm not guessing what to build. If it's a page level issue, then I'll go straight into the page and I'll improve that. So let's say I've looked at the data and I've decided this is the page I need to build or improve. And so I'll open it up. And at this point, I already know what the page is supposed to do. I can know the intent and I know how it's supposed to make money. So I'll either write it or generate a draft and clean it up. Either way, I just want a solid page first. Then as I'm building it, that's when I bring in the products, right? So I'll drop in a PassiveWP block and I'll search for the product on Amazon, whatever I need, and then I'll pick it and insert it. And now those are part of the page. That's what actually is going to be driving your clicks. And what it's doing here, it's not just pulling Amazon data, because that stuff is usually terrible for this kind of content. Like the titles are super long and the descriptions aren't written to convert. And so it cleans it up automatically and makes it fit the page and actually perform. And the other big thing is it keeps everything updated, because if you're doing this manually, prices change and availability changes. And now your page is either outdated or it's just not competitive anymore. And that's not just a conversion issue. It can turn into a compliance issue. And so this just handles that in the background. Then from there, I can build out the rest of the page and I can add context and data and comparisons, whatever it needs, whatever I'm trying, whatever makes sense for what this page is trying to do. And if I need more content overall, I'm not going to build that manually. I'm going to queue it up. I'm going to schedule posts, let them publish over time so that the site keeps building coverage consistently. And honestly, that's one of the biggest benefits. It gives you your time back. So if the real problem is traffic, you can go and focus on that instead of getting stuck building pages all day. And then everything feeds back into this dashboard. So now I can actually see what's working, what's getting clicks, what's worth doing more of, and then adjust from there. And that's really the whole process, look at the data, figure out what's actually wrong, fix the thing, and then double down on what works. If you're trying to build something like this or fix a site that's already live, This will probably make things a lot easier. And you can try it out and see how it fits for you. And if it doesn't, like no problem, just don't keep it. But that's how I use it.